Hi everyone and welcome to Research Simplified. I'm Professor Phoebe. I have a master's in molecular biosciences and a doctorate in public health specializing in health research methodologies. And I'm here to share with you practical tips, bite-sized insights, and real examples just to help you make sense of research. In today's video, I will describe each one of the qualitative variable types. If you recall, last week I talked about this chart here and the different quantitative data types. Today, I'll be talking about this part here, the different qualitative data types. So let's dive right in. Let's start off by reviewing what a variable is. A variable is something that can be measured and varies from person to person or thing to thing. An example would be blood pressure. Blood pressure can vary from person to person. Fur type can vary from dog to dog. Now that we got that out of the way, let's chat a little bit more about qualitative variables. Qualitative variables, especially in quantitative research, are more commonly referred to as categorical variables. These are things that can describe qualities and labels instead of actual numbers. They help us group people or things based off of characteristics, from eye color to the brand of shoes they wear. Now, there are three main types of qualitative variables: nominal, ordinal, and dichotomous. Each type is useful and important, especially when it comes to health research. Let's first talk about nominal variables. These variables group things into categories and there's no distinct order. It's just naming things. An example would be types of pets like cats, dogs, birds, fish, or soda brands like Pepsi, Coke, Sprite. What else is out there? Fanta? As you can see from the examples, there is no particular ranking. One is not necessarily better than the other. They just have different names. Next is ordinal variables. Ordinal variables also group things, except there's an ordinal or a ranking to them. You know which comes first, second, third, and so on. You often see these types of questions in surveys that ask you, how satisfied are you with the service, or how satisfied are you with the food? These surveys commonly use a tool called a Likert scale. Likert scales are a survey tool that's used to measure the attitudes or the opinions of people. The scales are in an ordinal ranking and would ask things such as, how satisfied are you, or how much do you agree to this statement? Cool. Examples of ordinal scales are movie ratings: poor, average, good, excellent, or positions in a race: first, second, third, and of course the pain scale. So the thing with ordinal variables is that there's no true numerical difference between each of the responses, meaning there's no way you can possibly count the difference between very satisfied and satisfied, because it is ultimately a qualitative and therefore subjective value. I'm going to give you one more example because this is something that I notice people tend to get confused, especially because the ordinal scale has some kind of order, and sometimes ordinal values use numbers to represent them. That's where it gets a little confusing. The example that I'm going to use to clarify this is the pain scale, which is an ordinal scale that tells you to rate your level of pain from the numbers 1 through 10. I'm sure many of us have seen the pain scale before, like if you ever go to a hospital and you're in severe pain and they give you a chart and they ask you to point to which level of pain are you at, and there's a bunch of faces on there that goes from to, yeah, that thing. Okay, a pain scale has you rate your subjective pain on a level of 1 through 10. And I do want to stress subjective because pain tolerance is different from person to person. Now, here's a tricky question. What is the true difference between a level 2 pain and a level 3 pain? This is really hard to answer when the entire scale is subjective and it depends on the person. See, it's not as definitive as counting cars, because the difference between 5 cars and 1 car is always 5 minus 1, which is 4. And it's the same no matter the person or the place or the time. So hopefully that cleared things up about ordinal variables for you. If not, leave a comment. The third type of qualitative variable is a dichotomous or a binary variable. This is a special type of variables where only two answers can exist. In a dichotomous variable, the participant can only answer one or the other. An example would be whether or not someone attended a meeting. The answer is either yes or no. You either attended or you didn't attend. There's really nothing else in between. Another example would be pass or fail. You either passed the exam or you failed it. There's nothing else in between. Researchers use qualitative variables to make sense of things that weren't originally numbers to begin with. By counting how many people choose each option and what they think, researchers can spot trends and compare these different groups. For example, let's say there's a survey that asks you, do you like dogs or do you like cats? This is a binary variable. If 70 people pick dogs and 30 people pick cats, then you can conclude that more people like dogs over cats. Do not cite me. This is not an official study. It's just an example. And this is called quantifying qualitative values, which means turning descriptions into numbers just by counting them. Because of this, researchers can run tests, make graphs, and answer lots of questions. It gives us an opportunity to combine qualitative values with quantitative methods. Just a little side note, in my experience, there's a tiny clash between disciplines when it comes to quantifying qualitative data. Biostatisticians are typically trained to work with pure, real numbers. So these are your continuous and discrete variables. An epidemiologist, on the other hand, is more interested in humanizing these numbers. So they're more familiar with variables such as sex, gender, race, or geographical location. And the only way to include these variables in the analysis is to quantify qualitative data. In my opinion, and also because of my training, quantifying qualitative data is absolutely fine. In fact, it is actually more useful to do so if we're interested in translating research into useful and effective action items. And that's called translational research. As long as we are careful and use the right statistical tool with the type of data that we have, and we document every step of the process so that others can review and give us feedback, using qualitative data mixed with true quantitative data can give us a deeper understanding of the population as a whole. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe. I will try to upload a video every Wednesday. Once again, I'm Professor Phoebe. Stay curious and see you later. Bye!